G'day, welcome back to Buildsum, and in this video we're continuing with the series on building a deck, and in this one I'm just going to start looking at a deck that's actually built at ground level basically. Okay, so the past couple of videos we've looked at decks that are off the ground and we can get a termite barrier in. So this deck we're definitely not going to be able to get a termite barrier in, so therefore it has to be constructed out of termite resistant materials. The other big factors you have to think about when doing a deck on ground is one, ventilation. So you want as much airflow underneath the building as you can, underneath the deck as you can, and also drainage. You don't want water ponding or pooling underneath the deck. So with this technique, there's a little bit of groundwork to do. So the first thing I would do is I would excavate or remove all the topsoil and actually dig down about 50 to 100 mil in the entire area that you're planning on putting the deck in. Okay, get rid of all the loose topsoil. That'll help you even everything off. And then what you're going to do is you're going to put in a waterproof membrane. So this is the used to be all traditionally orange, 200 micron thick builder's plastic. Basically, you can get black stuff now. So we just put a layer of that under the deck. So that's going to stop any moisture coming up out of the ground and into out that area. Okay, it's also going to help with a bit of the drainage. We're then going to top that up with a good draining material. So some coarse sand, crusher dust, maybe in some really fine recycled concrete, just something that's going to let the water drain away. And it's not going to hold the moisture, just so it doesn't hold the moisture under our deck. Okay, and that'll also give us a really good chance to get that area under the deck nice and level, and preferably sloping away to a low point so that the water does run away from underneath our building. Okay, so then we have our bearers. We've got two options with our bearers. First one is concrete plinths or concrete bearers, just long strips of concrete laid on the ground. Now obviously that's going to take a bit of work to set up, and that's a little bit of concrete to mix, probably not enough to get a truck in, and a lot to mix by hand. So that seems like a problematic system to me. The other system is just to use sleepers. So short lengths of H4 treated timber. So if you go down to the timber yard and get some of the landscaping type sleepers that are made for contact with the ground and used for retaining walls, you can use those. So they just get laid on the flat on the ground, okay, and I would nail them or screw them together or put a gang nail on them so they don't want to separate, and they're going to provide the bearers for our job. So the distance apart is the same as in the other videos. Dependent on the joist you're going to use would be how far apart you would put those particular bearers. And again, you probably look at about 1.5, maybe up to 2 meters if you want to use a bigger joist. Okay, so there's our bearers. So you can either use concrete or a timber sleeper, right, on this nice draining level surface. Okay, again, we've got to remember our rules with our actual framing. Can't have anything within 25 mil of our wall, so we actually have a gap that the termites can't, well, they're seen if they do cross it. They can cross it, but they'll be seen. All right, and then we can put in our joists. Okay, so again, they're running continuously depending on the size of your deck. Okay, pretty standard. We can put in our protective covering, again making sure the joists are at 25 mil off the wall. Put in our joist protectors to stop the water ponding on top, and then our decking can go on. Again, the decking has to finish no closer than 10 mil to the wall. And again, as I said in the last video, if you can actually set these first 3 or 4 boards up so they're just screwed in, so if you want to have a look under your deck, you can actually pull those up, just unscrew them, pull them up, and you can have a look and see if there's been any termite activity under your deck every 6 to 12 months, just to make sure nothing's going on there. The other option is to panelize the deck. So if you build little panels, maybe sort of 1 meter to 1200 wide and sort of same sort of thing, 1 meter to 1200 long, then you can actually lift them up and have a look under the deck just to make sure there's been no more termite activity or any termite activity. Okay, so that's another option. You can just panelize. You can make them off, somewhere else in the yard, and drop those panels in. The only problem is you're going to have heaps of cut marks or cut lines in the deck. So maybe you want to make them go alternate ways or funny patterns. All right, but you can do that as well, and that means you can pull them out and inspect them for termites. All right, so there you go. That's the last video on building a deck. Hope you enjoyed it.
G'day, I'm back. Just to let you know that if you like this video, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel, or you can follow me on Facebook so you don't miss out on more great videos.